Cody Lewis. It is Monday, August 25th. We are live once again for our fourth week. Is this the fourth week of doing 5 days a week live streams on both of our channels? Are you tired?
Yeah, and excited at the same time, but definitely I would say tired. One more
Tired is
week
the
though.
what? Listen, I think we were going to do something on Saturday to do like a blowout, but I don't think you're going to be in the same place as me anymore. So I might just say we're not doing it, but we'll have to come up with it. Anyway, good. Hello to anybody who's joining us. My name is Laci McCarty. I am your Las Vegas relocation bestie, your lifestyle expert about anything and everything to do with moving to and living in Las Vegas, my beautiful neon hometown. With me on the screen is my amazing partner, my awesome bestie. He's like my mentor in this business. I'm so grateful. Cody Lewis, realtor, MBA consultant. Cody, tell us about yourself.
I've been in the real estate business for more than 20 years, and probably even before that, because my dad was a real estate developer for 30 years, 40 years, I don't know what it was, but built a lot of houses in Las Vegas. And my first job was sweeping out model homes when they were framed with a push
I
broom.
love that. I almost said something. I'm going to say it anyway. It's not vulgar, but maybe a little bit. Like, so some would say maybe you were involved in real estate before you were even in the womb.
That's
And while
probably
you
true.
were in the womb. So anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. So Cody is here to focus on, we do a thing where we combine our conversations about real estate in Las Vegas and just real estate and business in general. My focus is really to help anyone who's considering moving to Las Vegas become more educated and give you a very direct, blunt, honest approach to how we do business here. I want you to be educated and land softly. I love what we're doing here, Cody, because we've decided to take our two audiences. Cody's audience is mostly focused on educating realtors to help make all of us better. And he's done a damn good job at it because he was my mentor. And now I get to like collaborate with him in these awesome ways online. And it's just been beautiful. But we came to the conclusion a while ago that it seems there's a very deep misunderstanding in the world that realtors go into like a secret back room and have like conversations about things that like nobody else is supposed to know about, and then we like come out and tell the client something different. So we decided we're not letting you think that anymore. We're going to bring both of our audiences together, and we're going to just have a great conversation, and hopefully everyone gets educated at the same time. So thank you for doing this with me this last month. It has been a wild ride. I'm really excited.
Yeah, we've really actually tested that theory this month of are they really the same discussions? And I'm telling you, I believe that more than now than ever, because by having the conversations that we would have as realtors together, that's education for buyers and sellers and vice versa.
Absolutely. If you guys are thinking about moving to Vegas, I'm going to be, self-focused for a minute. Scan this code up here. I would love to set up a call with you. I don't care if you're moving now or 10 years from now. I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will put it back up on the screen later. If you're a realtor watching us, please, for the love of everything, if you want to grow your business, you have to learn more about what we're doing with the synergy community that Cody has built and that I'm now grateful to be a part of. And he's just an awesome mentor. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll put those back up in a little while. Let's jump into this. Today is a very hot topic. Hot topic from buyers. How's it going with your realtors over there that you're teaching?
Yeah, I mean, this is a subject matter that everybody wants to make sure they understand, and it involves a little bit of numbers, which can be scary for some people. And it's not even just numbers only. It's having a strategy in place. And so you really got to understand the investment world yourself if you're going to be representing clients who are going to be investors as a realtor.
Absolutely. We also want to invite everyone, if whether you're an investor or not, or you've ever thought of doing it, we want you to stick around because we're going to do some education in this process. But please drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. Even if you're watching on a replay, we want to know that you're here. We want to know where you're from. And if you're a realtor, let us know, because that's just exciting to see that more realtors are tuning in and wanting to learn from us. So let's kick off the conversation. So today we are talking about, for realtors, it's more about how to understand how to provide what you need to provide for your investment clients, but also how to qualify your clients to make sure that they are really investors and that you're both, on the same common goal. And for anybody who's considering moving to Vegas, it's like, is now even a good time? What's going on in Vegas? How do I become an investor? So I wanted to kick off the chat with just kind of going straight into a market update to talk about right now what's going on. There are news headlines, and this is even scaring realtors, Cody. I don't know if you've seen a lot of realtors coming to you like, oh, what are we going to do? Have you had that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I am talking with realtors constantly. I coach and mentor lots of people, some formally and some sort of informally, teach a lot of CE classes. And so definitely in the CE classes, the realtors are saying, hey, what do you think about the general market? What's your
Yeah.
take on a lot of things?
Yeah, it's scary when the clickbait or the negative news is what gets clicks, which is what pays bills for journalists and some people and media companies. And it's really sad because I think that it really does have a larger effect on people's mindset when it comes to everything in the world, but especially investing in real estate. So let's jump in really quick if you are good. Let me see if I can do this. Yes, I did it. So the big news headlines, Cody, help me talk through this so that we can both be singing the same tune and make sure I'm saying it right. But the big headlines out there are the market is flooded with homes. Everyone's moving out of Vegas. Everyone's offloading their properties. Bad investment, bad, bad, bad. When you're looking at this number and any numbers in real estate, how do you approach it when you're talking to realtors as well as just your clients from in the past?
I mean, I'd say just light your hair on fire and run around like it's coming to the world coming to an end. No, I mean,
No.
that's the thing is that I almost never listen to the headlines, and if I do, it's just to see what are they feeding the general public, and where is
Right,
that right or wrong.
right,
The general story in Las Vegas right now, as we've been talking about for the last couple of months, is just that the inventory continues to increase.
right.
But if you notice at the bottom right figure in that top blue box is that our effective inventory is availability of 3.5 months. That is
Right.
not a hair on fire kind of market.
Yeah, when I first started in the industry, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen our inventory go above 3.5 months since I started. I was fortunate to start in 2016 or 2017. And I've never been in a market that we had too much inventory. And everyone, including realtors who are out there making content, are saying that that's the market we're in. I was told a well-balanced, healthy market where everyone feels like they have time to think and make good decisions is a 4 to 6 month range, or even really more 5 to 6 month range. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say 4 to 6 months. And
Okay.
in really balanced markets that we see around the country that have a really good balance between supply and demand, it's usually around 4 months. And
Hmm.
so if we get above 4 months, like if we get it to 5, 6 months, then it might start to feel a little bit different
Sure.
for us. But boy, we have just not felt that. We have not felt
Right.
a downturn in demand from buyers.
Right. Now, and I usually focus mostly on relocation, and obviously Vegas is attracting everyone. Let me do a little quick thing here. I just gotta make sure you guys know that I'm here. If you're moving to Vegas, make sure you scan that self-promotion. But I will say, like, I'm working with most people who are either wanting to invest in Vegas because of all the wonderful news and developments that are happening throughout the city from a real estate perspective or business perspective, but also who want to move here because of all the tax benefit and it's Vegas, duh. Why would you not want to live here? That's how I take it. So let's talk a little bit about an investor looking at these numbers and how this should, because we can talk all day about how we're fine, everybody, it's fine. Things are really, I think, in a really great place. It's a good time to buy. It's also, I think, a great time to sell if you have the right realtor and you do it the right way and price it well. We've had huge success in this market of selling several listings and other that have gone very quickly and done well, and while others unfortunately are sitting on their hands waiting for a buyer. So it's about approach and strategy. But when we're thinking of investors, Cody, as a realtor as well as someone who might want to invest, how would you look at these numbers?
Well, most of the investors that I've ever worked with that are savvy and
Hmm.
really understand it, they're kind of like of the Warren Buffett mindset where they want to run for the exit when everyone else is running for the entrance and vice versa. So when they see those kinds of headlines, they feel like there's maybe a little bit of blood in the water, so to speak, and
Hmm.
they're interested in seeing if there are any deals that will give them the yields they want. We're going to talk about yields and how to calculate them a little bit later, I think, but
Hmm.
those guys start to really run their numbers and see if these things are going to make it so that the deals start to pencil for them.
Now, when I'm seeing the median home price up, it's a 1%, but up, and really look almost the exact same as what it did last month and the month before, that is a firm confirmation to me as an investor that more inventory means more options, and price being steady means I'm not going to overpay. I'm things are feeling good. Is that how you would look at it from an investment standpoint? Just meaning like more options, maybe a little bit more of a negotiability, but prices aren't swinging down. We're not seeing it hit the floor.
Yeah, from an investment perspective, there's got to be some sort of an income component to your investment. And so the
Right.
income component is going to be relative to what you paid for that. So
Hmm.
if we saw a situation where rents were just taking a total nosedive and prices were continuing to increase, which I have seen that in my career, and
Right.
that was when there was a lot of stuff that was happening where people were starting to get worried, and I was never worried about it. But when I see those kinds of fundamentals, that's when you might start to say, there might be some pricing changing coming, or there's some extra frothiness in the marketplace.
Right.
Because if the rents are, they don't even have to stay the same, but if they're just still strong relative to the purchase prices, those yields are going to be there for investors.
Right. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about best practices for investing, but before I do that, I had looked up a few things. We are not property managers, so we are not in the grind of pricing rentals every day, but we are investor representatives. So we do help a ton of investors, and thank God Cody has a math brain, because I can do it, but it probably takes me 10 times longer. We're sitting next to a spreadsheet here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a walking, talking spreadsheet, and I love it because your approach with your amazing, education and background and brain really helps our investors feel solid in the conversation about what we're doing, and also know that they're, oops, didn't think about that, oh my God. So I want to just talk briefly about, I ran some numbers and looked at some things. Because inventory is rising, we've talked about that already. Rent is seeing a little bit of a shift down. It's not a plummet, it's just an adjustment, I think, because there are not only inventories rising for sale, there's inventory rising for rent, right? People are making moves and doing their thing. So we are seeing a slight dip, but I wanted to just run everybody through and let you guys know that median rent right now, sorry, I don't have a graphic. Median rent is around $1,500 a month, 15 to 1,600, depending on the unit type and what you're going for. And really, at the end of the day, market's kind of just it's just evening out, in my opinion. It's very renter friendly and very strategic opportunities in front of you for savvy landlords as well as savvy investors right now, because of what I mentioned before, where prices are kind of okay, inventory's rising. The people who are listing really want to get those homes sold. If they've got a little bit of competition, let us negotiate you a really good deal. And then being savvy with your listing price for your rent is super important.
Yeah.
So that's the state of the market when it comes to rents and how we're looking across the city. Let me pull up what were we going to next? Let me pull that down. We're going to best practices for becoming a real estate investor. Let's walk through this.
For me personally, the first thing I ask somebody when they say they want to be a real estate investor is, what exactly is it that you're trying to accomplish? Because,
Right.
and this is what I ask buyers, sellers, any client, because we cannot represent your interests and hit the target if we don't know what the target is.
Right.
So we're going to talk about some of the specifics of what we mean by what are your goals, but that's really important to understand what it is that you're trying to do.
Right.
And so you'll see that the second bullet point there is this fix and flip model. There are a lot of people who think, oh, you just buy a house that's undervalued, that needs some work. You just do that work, and then there's going to be all these, tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of upside. And you just got to really understand what that looks like. And you have to do some math in the beginning to say,
Mhm.
it's going to be worth this. This is how much I can get it for today. Make sure that the cost of those repairs is going to be smaller than that total difference, or
Right.
else it's not going to be profitable for you.
Well, and needing to make sure that you're comfortable with how long it might take to sell. If you're over uprating and just making smarter decisions with all that.
Yeah, and that's a very active investment. A fix and flip means you're managing a project. You're like a project manager. You got to make sure you have the time and the expertise to do that. There are others who decide to buy it, fix it, and then hold it, or just buy it and hold it, which is, basically put a renter in there. And this is my preferred method for investing in real estate because I am definitely more of a long-term thinker. It's not that I haven't done fix and flips. I've done them. But I really like the long-term capital gains status that you get on those returns if you
Yeah.
hold it for at least a year.
I was talking before we went live, and I was saying, like, I've seen you, Cody, in meetings with clients who will call and say, I bought this house with you 2 or 3 years ago. We've outgrown it. We want to rent it now. And I've almost seen you talk people out of doing that. And I'm over there going, why they should hold on to the real estate that they own. And then after watching the process of what happens next has educated me in a big way. Would you mind sharing that a little bit? Because that's the next option when it comes to investing, is the fix and hold, which is sort of kind of what we're leaning into and what I'm always telling people to do.
Yeah, so I've had lots of clients over my career call me after being in the house for 3 to 5 years and say, our family has expanded, or we've got more money, we want a bigger house, or we just want a different house. And so I help them do that, and they want to rent out their existing house, right? And the problem is that when you bought a house to live in it, it doesn't always fit really well in the investment world. So what I started to see people do is they would rent it out, but after 6 months to a year, they'd call me and say, hey, what we really want to do, we want to be in the investment game, but we want to sell this house and use that equity, use that money and redeploy it into a transaction that is more conducive to what we're actually trying to accomplish from an investment perspective. And
Right.
so we sort of trade that money into something that's a better yield for them, what more of what they're trying to do with it, and it ends up being better. So if I can help people just kind of get there right away instead of going through that 6 or 12 months of kind of the pain that teaches them, I like to do that. But it doesn't always, pencil that way. Sometimes it does make sense to start with the one they've got.
And a lot of people forget that you actually either have to hire a landlord, which is a whole nother video we're going to do, by the way, or that you have to be a landlord, which I've been a landlord.
You said hire a landlord. You meant hire a property manager or be a landlord.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Hire a property manager, be a landlord. Sorry. I just kept thinking how crappy it is to be a landlord sometimes. So, by the way, if you are a realtor, I want to give you just a few seconds. I did put that code on the screen. If you're watching, I see a few of you guys watching from our realtor pages. Thank you for tuning in. Also, drop it like it's hot in the comment box. Let us know where you're from, what you're doing here, and let us know if you have questions. If you're thinking about investing, if you are an investor, I've got some comments we're going to get to in a little bit. Just be nice in the comments. That's all we ask. And we'd happily, entertain chatting with you about whatever you want to talk about here today, even if it has nothing to do with what we're doing. So fix and flip short term, fix and hold long term. Let me talk about short-term rentals and Airbnbs. Oh, I think my computer just reminded me of something and it's supposed to not do that. Sorry, did you hear that? Oh my goodness.
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh my Lord, that was like super loud. Okay, now that my eardrums are back, I'm gonna get straight. Let me get close to the camera here for a minute. If you're thinking about Las Vegas, yes. If you're thinking about investing in Las Vegas, yes. If you're thinking about doing Airbnb, I'm going to crush your dreams. And I'm so sorry. Let's talk about it. I'm serious. I had a phone call today about this. And I'm like, what? Why? Just do a Google search and you'll get what I'm saying. I love the people who are taking advantage of the Airbnb licenses that have been sent out in Vegas. I love that I have friends who have bought and land in that have retired because of what they did with Airbnb. The rules have changed, my friends. If you call me, I'll talk you through this one by one and give you the lay of the land. There are resources online. Please do your research. You must have a license to do Airbnb. If you have an HOA, which is about 85% of our city, maybe more now, probably 85%, it's probably not allowed. And if it is, very strict, most likely not allowed. And now the new rules are if you don't live in the home in some of the cities that we have around our metropolis, you can't do any kind of Airbnb. So it's a very strict licensing process. It is a very heavy experience. I do not recommend going that route to any of our investors. However, I do say there is an opportunity that nobody seems to be focused on. And I seem to be the only agent who, I don't know why nobody else is talking about this. Maybe I'm missing something. There is at least for my clientele, I talk to at least 60 people a month, maybe more, that want to rent first when they come to Vegas, but don't really want to rent for a year because they don't want to give up a year's worth of rent money. So they just need a place for like 30, 60, 90 days. They maybe 6 months at the most. And I'm telling investors going, if you want to do Airbnb, it's a different model, but try it with the 31 days or more. Then you don't need a license. You do have to clear it with your HOA sometimes. There's other components we can talk about, but there is a need for travel nurses, doctors who are doing residencies, and new residents. By the way, we've added 1 million new residents to this city in the last 8 or 9, 10 years. So I don't even know what the year it was that they ran that, but 1 million people moved here. 1 million. So like there's a need for people coming to the city for exactly what I'm talking about. So our investors, we try to talk to them about how if we can have access to your inventory, we can even almost place people if it aligns and makes sense. So lots of things to be said, but when it comes to short-term Airbnb, there are 3 cities: Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. You must have a license to do it. Each of them has different rules. Please do a little Google search. And I love you. Sorry for breaking your heart. Okay, back to business. Well, I'm passionate about it. It's like every day I get this phone call. Sorry, what?
You're going to talk about condo-tels now, right? And let everybody have their air come back into them?
Yes, and now I'm bring you back to life. Here we go. Let me add this to stage. Okay, condo tells. Now, I left these two bullets on the bottom because I didn't want us to forget to say this. But condo tells are a possible and a unique opportunity in Vegas that allows you to have the best of both worlds. There are some things that come along with it that we will talk to you about personally, like high costs, like high HOAs. Condo tells are high-rise condos, like the Palms, the Signature. Let me pull this back so you can see the Signature, the Palms. There's a variety throughout Las Vegas that will do a revenue share program with you that will allow, they will rent it out for you like it's part of the hotel. They will clean it for you. They will also take 50% of the revenue or maybe more depending. But there is a way to make that pencil for some investors. And we've actually seen it. And wait, I'm gonna go back to the slide so that I get my reminder. Cody, tell us that client story.
I had a client call me once. He's a CPA, and he said, "Hey, I come to Vegas for conferences probably 5 or 6 times a year. I'd like to buy a property that I can rent out and, for short-term rentals while I'm not there. And if all I can do is break even, I'm going to be happy. It'll be like I'm getting to come to Vegas. When I come to Vegas, I'll stay in it, and it'll be like I'm getting to come there for free." That was his goal,
Yeah.
right? And so we did buy him a unit at the Palms. And I called him about a year later and I said, "Hey, you're a CPA, you're a numbers guy. I love numbers. Tell me what the numbers were." And, investors really care about what the numbers were. And he said that he had yielded about 5% on his money. So he was just hoping to break even. He had yielded about 5% of what he had invested, and he got to stay in Vegas for free. So
Wow.
even with all of the high cost structure of somebody else managing it, he was able to get those kinds of returns. And he was like, "I want to do another 2 or 3 units." So it was really
Right.
a great story for him.
I love that. And being an Airbnb manager of any kind and knowing how to do the what's it called? The pricing, the dynamic pricing that they do for like Uber Eats, how you pay a little more if it's busier and things like that, or just knowing what's going on in the city and knowing how to price. That's a full-time damn job. Let me just be very real with you. So I like the condo-tel investment opportunity. It doesn't work for everyone, but if that's the kind of vibe that you're looking for that he just walked through, or if you as a realtor have clients who decided against doing Airbnb because of me crushing their dreams or you crushing their dreams, consider doing that. I want to get back up to this because we've got a lot of other stuff to share with you guys. Quick reminder, we're talking about investing in Vegas. We're talking to both realtors as well as anybody who wants to invest or is already an investor. We're really just trying to show you guys we know what the hell we're talking about, and we're going to prove it throughout this entire conversation. And if you're considering moving to Vegas or investing in Vegas, we want to know about it. We're walking through right now some best practices for becoming a real estate investor for anybody who might be considering starting in that. And you as investors who already are doing it, if we're saying things that you already do, we want to talk to you. That's the bottom line. And if you as realtors are not asking these or looking for these questions or knowing these things, then tune in for this. I did put know your goal twice, last slide and this slide, because it's a really important component to the process. Know your damn goal, please. Cody, take us through the next few.
Yeah. So sometimes we get contacted by people who want to be an investor, but they really don't have any capital saved up. And what you're really investing in is you're investing your capital in real estate. You're not just buying a piece of real estate. And so it's important to understand that to be an investor in that capital, you got to have the capital. And I'm not saying that you can't, but people who are telling you that you can be a real estate investor with no capital are usually selling some kind of a seminar. I mean, that's just what it's
Correct.
been in my experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing too, that we really try to help you, our expertise is helping you understand the lay of the land in the city and where would be a good area to invest in. But we need to know what kind of a house we're looking for. Are you wanting to do a condo thing? Are you trying to do a town? Like, what are you into? We want to make sure that you have those goals outlined and that you thought through that a little bit. And we can guide you and give you pros and cons, but that's going to be a definite thing that you got to know. We can't just be putting a search out there for anything and everything that's possibly purchasable. Like no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, each one of those has a very different management component to it. And so that's, again, how active or passive do you want this investment to be? And
Correct.
those different types of asset classes are going to determine that a lot.
Right.
And then can I take the next bullet point
Yeah,
there?
please. Yep. Yep.
So I also think that it's important to remember, and we're not financial advisors, so nothing we say can be deemed financial advice, right? But it's probably not a good idea to have real estate be your only investment, because real estate tends to be highly variable. And so you want to have a good advisor that's giving you a good strategy for how to make that be stable and for the long run. And real estate should be an element of that, but it shouldn't be the only element of that, for sure.
Right, right. Another thing that we have happen quite often is people, there's an assumption that yes, the city's growing quickly, or whatever research someone's done, is that they're going to get it rented right away. They're going to have no problem, and they're going to have a perfect tenant. And whether they're managing it themselves or the property management company is doing it for them, that they seem to forget that the possibility, just like with Airbnb as well and condo-tels, the possibility of nobody being in that house for a little while is really a big deal. Vacancy, talk through that a little bit, and some of the numbers that you kind of use for our clients.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to always be able to find a tenant. It's just, are they a good qualified tenant? And do you know how to qualify them? And do you know which things are important to do for qualifying them, right? So a lot of people decide they want to be an investor. A lot of people will move out of a home and start renting it out. And then a year later, they're saying, wow, I didn't realize I had this cost and this cost and this cost. And when you're calculating all of your numbers, you got to calculate those costs, and you've also got to assume some vacancy. So
Cody, can you hear me okay? You're sounding super garbled, and I think it's my Wi-Fi. I want to make sure I'm coming through okay.
Yeah, I'm not showing anything on my end.
Okay, good. I didn't know if I was like stuck in a weird space or something, you know.
Probably.
Okay, good. It's rainy and windy here, so good Lord knows what's going on. Super important. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. I want to keep this thing moving. If you guys have stories you want to tell or any questions, please put it in the comments. Even if you're doing this as a replay, we really want to know. We look at all of those. Next thing, so that's how to become a real estate investor, or what you as realtors should be understanding needs to happen if you're going to do this for your clients. Let's talk about, this is where the math comes into play. This is where I take a nap, ladies and gentlemen. You have a good time. I can do it, but I don't need to do it because I got this guy in my life. Walk us through. What?
Go ahead.
Oh, you're gonna make fun of me? Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. Take us next. Go.
No, I was just saying I just got excited because we're gonna actually talk about some numbers. We get down to some material stuff here.
Let's start with first. I'm sorry, I meant to put this up, Cody. This is a listing that we actually have that we're going to use as an example. This is live right now. So if you're watching and you're considering investing in Vegas, we're going to walk you through the numbers. We're going to tell you what we would do for you as our investment client. Do your thing. Let me take you through some pretty pictures first while you start this up. Let me find that. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay.
Yeah. So the simplest way for people to calculate their yield on their investment is with something called a cap rate. And what's important to remember is that a cap rate focuses only on the yield on that property. It doesn't focus on the source of the funds, right? So like if you're getting a loan on it, you can still calculate a cap rate. You're calculating the yield of that particular investment. You want to sort of ignore financing. That's a different conversation altogether.
Right.
So you want me to show the little calculations that I did?
I just wanted to show how clean this house is. It's adorable. One of my favorite listings that we put up in a great area of town. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that we're using real numbers from a real live listing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that condo has all brand new paint, all new flooring, and I think it's new HVAC. Anyway, it's just in really, really good condition. And so I'm going to show you the numbers on this as an example here in just a minute.
Yeah, go ahead and put that up. I'm going to take this off the screen. Right.
All right.
There we go.
Okay.
I'll zoom in. I'm so excited. You better close your tabs. You don't see see what else you've been up to today. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's okay. I got nothing to hide. So let's just start first here on the left side, because this is just the simplest way to think about this. This is just a hypothetical. This is not that condo. But let's just say that you were to purchase something for $500,000 and that you could realistically rent that out for $3,000 a month gross rent. Okay, well, if you calculate property taxes, insurance, and HOA, then you're going to get a total cost of $600 a month. And so your net rent is going to be that $3,000 minus the $600, $2,400 a month, which is $28,800 a year. And so to calculate a cap rate, it's actually really simple. You just divide those true net rents by the purchase price, and it, in this case, gives you 5.76%.
Right.
Now, it's really important to remember, though, that you got to calculate in some vacancy. And so right here, this part of it is just the same exact thing again, but it's calculating it with some vacancy. And what I do is I just assume it's going to be rented for 11 of the 12 months and come up with a rent with that vacant month on average. So my total annual rents, gross rents are 33,000. That's going to change the cap rate from 5.76 to 5.16%. So it's just showing how when you really get the true costs in there, that makes a difference in your calculation.
Now, let me pause you real quick, Cody, because I know you're going to give the example for this house, but let me just reach back to this. Savvy investors, and this is, if you're an agent watching as well, keep these things in mind. Not only does the cap rate, the investor only focus on, sorry, cap rate only focuses on the return of the property, not the source of the loan or the capital that you're using. But savvy investors they know that, and they also know that they're targeting usually 3 to 4%, with appreciation of 3 to 4% with the total yield. I know you've walked through this. What I wanted to just say is over the last 3 to 4 years, guys, we've seen investors getting better than those returns because of the appreciation. And the only thing that slowed us down has been a bit of the interest rates going up. The minute we see any shift in that, I firmly see and think that we're going to start seeing again more of that.
Yeah, this is an important thing to remember because you can't, when you're looking at investment in Las Vegas, you don't want to focus only on cap rate because there
Right.
is an appreciation element. And
Right.
we're going to come back to this in just a minute, but the really savvy investors understand that sometimes there isn't that appreciation and they're
Right.
okay with the cap rate being 3 to 4% because they know in the long run, the long run appreciation average, they might see a year of 10% and then they might see 0, right? But they know
Right.
in the long run it's going to be 3 to 4%, which gives them 6 to 8% total yield on their money. And remember, you're investing your capital, and what's the
Right.
yield on your capital? That's what we're really looking for in your investment.
All right. I'll get out of your way now. Sorry about that. You go right ahead.
All right, so this is actually that condo we were just showing, and it's really the same analysis that we just saw in the hypothetical situation, but this is the actual numbers for this particular condo. We have it listed for 340. And if you calculated just the cap rate without any vacancy, you'd see that that's actually calculating a value of 390. But when you put in a 1 month of vacancy, then you get to 348, which is why we've got it priced where we do, just relative to what all of the comparables are in the market and what we think it's worth from an investor's perspective.
Right. So really good example. It's such a cute condo too. So again, if anyone's considering buying, we do have a great unit that looks like it's gonna give you some goodies back.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's the basis of cap rate. What happens is, if I've ever explained this to clients before, what they do is they call me later and say, "Hey, could you show me that again? Because I have a particular one I want to analyze," and we just do the math with them right there over the phone.
Mhm. I love that. Let me put this. Oh wait, you want to take? Can I remove that down? There we go. All
Sure.
right, let me put this back up. All right, we're learning. We're learning our things. I wanted to include this slide. I don't know how many agents are watching, again, if you watch on replay, that's totally cool too. I'm going to put your code up here, Cody. If you guys are an agent watching this, please scan that code and set up a time to chat with Cody. He's educated me more than I could ever have asked for. He's an amazing mentor, and we've got some really cool stuff happening. This is not just agent advice, but this is actually a slide that I'm excited to share because this is how we decide who we're going to work with as an investor, because we choose our investment clients, we qualify our investment clients. We definitely don't just take any old person walking through the door, and it's never based on their education. It's never based on how good at this they are. It's always based on, do you get it, or can we educate you to get it? Like, where do we stand? So it's really hard as an agent because the minute your phone number is released to the MLS and the Realtor Association, you are now public record a realtor, and you will get 93,000 texts a month that sound like they're your buddy that you might have lost his contact, when really it's just someone who's trying to slide in and either scam you or isn't a real investor. So I want to walk through some advice for agents, but also just how we do this, if that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, what'll happen is new agents will get contacted by all these different investors, and lots of times the investors don't say who they really are. They just say, "Hey, I need help buying a house in Las Vegas." Well, to a new
Right.
agent, that's like your dream come true that you hear somebody say that. But what you got to realize is that that investor has a finite amount of capital to deploy, and that investor is contacting all the agents, saying that same thing to all
All
the agents.
spam, 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 all. I just have
Yeah.
to make sure we say everyone. They're talking to everyone. Sorry, you're not special. Not in that realm. Sorry.
Yeah, so there can be some good investor clients in there, but what I have found is that The best investor clients that I've ever worked with either came from my existing book of business, or when they contacted me, they were speaking about these things in a way that I could tell that they had experience in doing it.
Right.
And so if somebody doesn't have a lot of capital to invest, or it's their first time doing it, or they're looking for like creative or alternative financing,
That's
those,
that last bullet there, creative or alternative financing. Yep.
yeah, my word of advice to agents would just be that sometimes those are not going to turn out to be what they say they're going to be in the beginning.
Right. And I think, yeah, and we've got somebody in the comments that just said, or wholesalers. I mean, that's definitely a component to this business that we probably should talk about at some point. But don't let this if you are somebody who's considering being a realtor, or sorry, considering being a realtor, let us know. That's not what I meant to say though. Considering investing. For me, don't let us choosing and qualifying our clients scare you. It's actually for you that we're doing that. And it's more so of, we want to make sure that you're prepared for what this really is going to look and feel like, and that there's no surprises. And so, because our goal is to make sure this works, right? We're running the numbers to make sure it works. We're not going to just let you go willy nilly and you ran the rent numbers and you think everything's great, and then we're over here going, oh, I don't think that's going to work. We're very direct and honest for a reason. We want your business continued, and we want to make sure you make a good and sound investment. So for me, Cody, I'm going to put this back up on the screen and just run through it one more time. I know I keep pulling it on and off, but I'm having fun playing with buttons, so forgive me. The biggest thing on this that is screams to me are the two inside bullets, and it's savvy investors understand that real estate is a long-term investment. Unless you're doing a fix and flip or something else, long-term, more than 5 years minimum, I would say. I don't know, what would you consider a long-term investment? Most people don't live in their houses for 3 years, but this is an investment property.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say that at a minimum, you're going to want to do something for a year, but usually that if you're going to be in that investment for only a year, it's so that you can turn it into another investment because you're
Right.
thinking about a long run financial strategy for yourself.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is, savvy investors really understand that cap rate could possibly be the only money they make sometimes. So because of the fact that we are in a volatile, it can be volatile. Real estate goes up, it goes down. That's why long term, if you look over long term time frames and graphs, it always evens out. But the ride can be bumpy if you are not okay with that cap rate being the only the appreciation can't be considered sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 55 and wanting to retire by 65, and you're going to put all of your money into real estate only as an investment vehicle, that's going to be a wild ride, and you just better hope you time that right for when you're 65, right? So if you're
Ooh.
25, that could be a different story. So
Yes.
those are all the kinds of things that we like to talk about with the investor clients, so that we can just make sure that we're matching up what their goals are with what we can actually do in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go to the comments. Are you ready to go to the comments? This has
Let's
been a
do it.
great conversation. I love it. Okay. So thank you again for joining us. Again, if you are here and it's not a live stream, you're just watching a replay, because I don't know what it is about my channel and about Cody's, but people love to watch us after the fact. Please let us know. We would love to say hi to you and drop any questions you have. We'll do our best to bring those up in our future live streams. I'm going to go from the top down here. We got Farkle Stocksbaum. Great name. I love it. Hey, Laci, did you hear another Federal Reserve governor just got fired like 30 minutes ago? Further indicator that rates might be moving down. Had not heard that. I was on a live stream during that experience, I think. What do you think about the rates, Cody, and what they've been talking about in the news? What's your gut saying? My crystal ball's getting a little clearer, but how about yours?
It's really interesting because the Fed's decisions don't directly impact mortgage rates, but there is an indirect impact on that because it does change the yield on bonds, usually where the money is flowing. And it's clear that everybody believes that the rates are coming down. What's interesting to me is that the mortgage rates they're based on what they think is going to happen. So when the news comes out, it's priced in almost immediately. It's not waiting for the Fed to change the rates. It's already priced in now.
Right.
So but I think that generally speaking, the politics of everything are going to make those rates be coming down here pretty soon.
And I'm going to say it. I'll say it once. I've said it 1,000 times. The minute there's a 5 in front of our rates, I don't care if it's a 5.999999. I don't care. The minute you see a 5, all that extra inventory that we're all freaking out about is likely going to dry up very, very quickly.
Yep.
And then it becomes a bit of a difficult experience when it comes to negotiating. Now, we're badass negotiators, so I'm just going to be very real. Like we figure stuff out, but just don't come to Vegas looking at 2 months ago headlines thinking you're going to get some squeaky clean deal and some, that you're going to take advantage of the seller when that's not even happening right now to begin with. Come with and believe and trust your realtor, me, or Cody too, but and make sure that you understand that we're going to give you the timely, up to the moment information, which it may not be the same in a month. It may not be the same in 2 months. So keep that in mind. Thank you for that information, though, Farkle. Appreciate that. Living in Omaha, David Matney. Hey, Laci and Cody. David always joins us. Wonderful to see you here as always. Thank you. Neil Warren says, hey, guys. Hey, hey, hey. Let's see here. We've got some people talking about mortgage rates. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Lincoln. Hi, Laci. I invested in Las Vegas in 2022, closed at 5.65% in 2022, and it looks good now. No rental for us, second home investment only, living in California, but I love Vegas. That's okay too. That's an investment that gets utilized. It's kind of like most people who buy boats don't ever use the boat, unlike Cody here who uses his boat. But most people, that's not a good investment because you're never using it. If you're utilizing your investment, that's a great investment. Congratulations, Lincoln. Super excited to have you here today. And thank you for the comment. And then let's see, Sue J. Sue, my sweet friend who's bringing my sunglasses back to Las Vegas because when we met up, I left them with her. She's awesome. She met with me because she has an investment property in Vegas. We are going to be selling that or working with her to decide what to do next. And she said it was one of her better decisions, would do it again. My friend does these funny things on Instagram where it's like would eat here again, would poop here again, would this, that. She said she would buy here again. So I love that. Thank you, Sue. And Oscar Love, hey, trying to learn how this works. Oscar, I love you. You've been a follower for a long, long time. That's what we're here for. We're here to do these kind of conversations. Really appreciate that you're leaning into the education and you want to absorb it. And just know that we're here to be right by your side in that process for sure. Cody, any wise guidance for your beautiful real estate community that's watching this right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should educate yourself a little bit on these things. Make sure that you know how to speak to these things. Make sure you know how to calculate some of these calculations because you will run into investor clients who really are savvy and they really are good and they're looking for somebody who understands it. And honestly, the way I learned this business the most was by having my own investment properties. And so that's a really good thing also to be in and learning.
I agree. Cody, I think you have a couple of really good live streams for realtors coming up on your channel, but what is this thing that you've been talking about? A book club, an unbook? What would you like to plug that a little bit? And also maybe talk for a moment about our synergy community, because that does make me a better realtor. And I know it makes you a better leader.
Look, I think I even have a slide for this. Let's see if I can put this on the stage.
Look at you. Hold on. I'm going to remove that. You do it. Look at you learning all the buttons. Oh my God. I'm so proud of you. I didn't even know you had that in here. I love this.
Yeah. So this is cool because this is not just for realtors. This book, Buy Back Your Time, is not just for realtors. It's for everybody. I'm doing this thing called the Unbook Club. It's starting on September 17th. It's going to be our first meeting and it's going to be virtual by Zoom. So anyone around the country can join it. And I'm doing that together with Shelly Johnson. She is a team leader out of North Carolina, and she's just lots of experience in this business. And so the reason we're calling it the Unbook Club is because we don't know if anybody's going to actually read the book. And so we hope that somebody will and prove us wrong. But if you don't read the book, you can still show up on September 17th. And we will have done all the reading, all the thinking. We'll have the conversation points ready. And we're just going to talk about this book will change the way you think about your time and your skill set.
I love it. How do people sign up, even if they're not a realtor or anybody business-wise? How do they get signed up?
So the Zoom link is, I think it's zoomshelly.com. I really should have been prepared with that, but I will.
Here's what I'll say is scan that code if you're interested and just set up a call. And then we want to talk to you anyway. And at the end of the day, we'll get you the information, but that does put you in our database. Sorry, I totally put you on the spot with that.
Yeah, it's okay. I should have been ready with that. I'll put it in the description or something.
We'll put it in the description. Anyway, all that we'll put it in the comment. We'll pin the comment on both channels so you guys have access to it. A couple of questions that came through, and then I definitely want to let everybody go. Beautiful spending this evening with you. It's a gorgeous day of rain in Las Vegas, and I'm looking out the window now, and it's a beautiful day. Okay, Farkle says, what percentage of your investor clients live in Vegas versus out of state? So Cody and I have very different client sets. You've worked with more locals, and I've worked with almost I wouldn't say exclusively, but about 90% out of state relocation clients. Investors, I would say 90% of my investor clients are maybe 95 live out of state. Yeah.
For me,
What
it's
about
always
you?
been about 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Nice.
kept pretty close track of that, and it's always been pretty even balance.
Nice. And then Mason, hey, Adventures of Mason, good to see you. He says, what did I miss? Well, second verse, same as the first. Let's go back to the beginning. Thank you for tuning in always, Mason. Do me a favor, rewind to the beginning. You're trying to learn about what's going on in Vegas, what's happened. You just moved here. This is where you get that information. All right, I'm going to plug myself one more time. If you are watching anywhere in the world and you're considering moving to Vegas or investing in Las Vegas, that's what you got to do right there. Boop, boop, scan that, set up a phone call. I really don't care if you know the answer, if you know your goals. Let's just start the conversation. I've had some amazing conversations just today. My calendar is filling up left and right. As soon as the word of rates possibly coming down went out, my phone, my social calendar, my dance card has been full, my friend. So, but I'm excited, and I'm never too busy, never too full for you guys. We're just here to educate and excited. So, and just excited. So I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I just keep saying I'm excited. How many times can I say I'm excited? I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited. Okay, good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here, Cody. You're the best. You're the bomb. I cannot wait for your unbook club, and really grateful for everybody for being here. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
thanks for
Talk to you
having me
soon.
on.